this Bible is pretty full. I did a big, it's this Bible if you've watched me before. I did a big New Testament study and got loads and loads of notes, and most of my Old Testament is also filled up, but I've realised that I don't have many notes on the book of Exodus. And I've read this book many times. It's one of my favourites. It's a really exciting book where lots of things happen, and I thought I want to sit down and do a study. So I've been searching on the internet for something that looks interesting, and I've found something called the Bible Project courses, and they've got something called Exodus Overview, and it's a 14-hour course, just a bit more of an in-depth kind of look into Exodus, and then I can take hopefully some really good informative notes. So the first unit is called Moses Delivered and Commissioned. So that's the one I'm going to study today. I'm going to get into that right now. Okay, it's a few days later. I was planning on filming immediately my thoughts after I did the initial video, but I got so into it, and then the boys came home, and then the next morning I got up and did it, and I didn't want to film because I had no makeup on, and then the night time passed. So I've actually done quite a bit of this Bible Project Exodus study so far, and I've taken so many notes, which I will absolutely share on my Instagram page, or you can pause this. I don't know if you'll be able to see properly, but my goodness, this has been so good. I've taken so many notes, and I've even had to go onto post-it notes because I ran out of space. I've added like little picture graphics in that they do, little flips and things. She didn't really go over much on the plagues, which is fine. I'll probably do an enduring word study on these. And then other things like she skimmed over, oh, this is still plague on the firstborn, and then the actual Exodus, and then I even tried my hand at a bit of Bible art. Check this right out. I'm not an artist, I'm really not, but you know, copied that off Pinterest. So yeah, I've been getting lots of really good notes on this, and I'm just so excited to be filling up Exodus because it is one of my favourite books of the Bible, and I've never actually gone into so much detail about it. I've just kind of read through it, and you know, you skim read certain parts where when you do a study, it makes you look in more detail at things. Sorry if you keep hearing a beeping. Our house alarm, we're not sure why, but it keeps beeping at us. We've changed the batteries. Just keeps beeping at us. So anyway, I am loving this study. I definitely recommend it. It's something that on a morning I really look forward to getting up early to do, because the classes are about an hour long, and then I just speed them up to 1.5. I'm learning so much about Exodus, and yeah, it's just been great. So it's a big thumbs up from me. I've just got up to this verse here, which is Exodus 32 verse 32, when Moses is speaking to God, and he says, "But now please forgive their sin." This is because the Israelites have created the golden calf at the bottom of Mount Sinai while Moses has been up there talking with God. And he said, "But now please forgive their sin, but if not, then blot me out of the book you have written." The Lord replied to Moses, "Whoever has sinned against me, I will blot out of my book. Now go, lead the people to the place I spoke of, and my angel will go before you." So I want to just have a little bit more input on these few verses. So I've just pulled up the Enduring Word Bible Commentary, which is a free website, and it's just got commentary from different scholars talking about each Bible verse. So I'm going to go to Exodus 32, and I'm just going to see if there's anything interesting here that I can add to my Bible notes. Okay, so I got this quote from Lloyd Jones, which I thought basically explained there that Moses is appealing in place of the people, so he wants God to punish him and let them go. I've just took a note at the bottom there that it's the same kind of sacrificial heart that Jesus has. So I've had to add that to a post-it note because I ran out of room from taking the notes down here. So I've just put that Moses is appealing to God's mercy. He recognised the enormity of their sin, yet he still asks God for forgiveness because he knows that God's character is a forgiving God. So I've just finished studying Exodus 32 to 34, and I thought I would share with you the notes that I've taken. Today I've just looked at contrasting the leadership between Aaron and Moses and how they differ, and Moses comes out as a much stronger leader with a heart more like God's. You can always pause the video and take these notes down if you want to. And then the note I took here for verse 28, it says, the Levites did as Moses commanded, and that day about 3,000 of the people died. So I've just put a note here to go to verse 35, because we think that this could possibly be connected, which says, and the Lord struck the people with a plague because of what they did with the calf that Aaron had made. So I've put there, punishment of a plague. That's the verse we were just in. Death of 3,000 Israelites. So in verse 15, Moses is talking about God's presence. And I've just noted here that the presence of God is the mark of Moses' favour, and it's the sign of Israel's distinctiveness. Moses doesn't want to go anywhere without God's presence. And he says here in verse 12, Lord, you've been telling me, lead these people, but you've not let me know whom you'll send with me. You've said I know you by name, and you've found favour with me. If you're pleased with me, teach me your ways, so I may know you and continue to find favour with you. Remember, this nation is your people. And the Lord replies, my presence will go with you. So Moses knows that without God's presence, he's nothing. People won't listen to him. He's not a leader. He needs God's presence. And I've taken a note over the page here on this post-it note, just to say that we need to ensure that whatever we do, wherever we go, that the presence of God is with us or in it. Let's not be making any decisions where we don't know if God's presence is going to be in that job or in that situation. We need to know that he is. And then down here, the radiant face of Moses. So being in God's presence changed Moses. And I've written down that we should sit in the Lord's presence every day. We should be basking in it because it does change us. And I'm sure you know yourself, if you're having a bad time and then you just spend some time with Jesus, you're completely transformed in the way that you feel about things. It's like that song, turn your eyes upon Jesus, look up to his wonderful face, and the things of the earth will grow strangely dim in the light of his glory and grace. And I just took that as so important to just really spend time in his presence, obviously in his word as well, because this is how he communicates to us. So it's now around 2:15. I've spent about half an hour doing that Bible study. A way that I can get through it quite quickly is I set the video to either 1.25 or 1.5 speed, because they do talk rather slow for my preferences. So I like it when they're talking fast and I can just take my notes and pause if I need to. A lot of people comment that I talk too fast and things like that. I'm just a fast person. I just like things to be happening. So that's what I do, and I get through it a lot quicker doing it that way. So at the moment I am just studying Exodus. I don't have much left. I think I've got about 2 hours worth of study left. I'm not sure if I'm going to go straight into Leviticus. Probably not at this moment in time, but we shall see. I did pick up this book on Joshua from church on Sunday. So we have a stall at the back of church where it's just free books. So when you're finished with a Christian book that you think others might like to read, you can leave your books there. So I thought I might jump ahead to Joshua and use this book to kind of help me read through that, because it looks quite interesting. It's by Dale Ralph Davis, but I can't recommend it to you yet because, like I say, I haven't read it yet. I only picked it up on Sunday.
Okay, so here we are at the end of the book of Exodus. We're in the last chunk of chapters 35 through 40.
So it's now 6:36. So I've spent almost half an hour on using the Bible Project website, again on the study of Exodus, and we've just done a little bit on the Sabbath, which is really interesting because I've been learning a lot about the Sabbath lately. This has kind of been something that I've been really interested in. So anyway, I've just jotted down here, work and rest is very important. God's work must be done according to his design. And then we looked at the materials needed for the tabernacle, and I just highlighted in blue every time it said that the people were willing. This is not something that God is commanding and they are turning against. This is something that God is commanding and they are obeying. So we've got an example up here in verse 5, and then in verse 21, in verse 22, 26 and 29. So I've written there that a lot of supplies were needed and were collected from anyone who was willing. And then I've just highlighted this section as skilled workers, everything that God had given them skills to do that they did. And then I've put up here, just along with the title of materials for the tabernacle, that everybody is able to be involved in God's plan for the tabernacle. So he set out the requirements and anyone that was willing participated. And then in green there I've just got that the leaders contributed gemstones and ingredients for oil and incense, and the lady on the video gave her thought that she thinks that each of the leaders brought a different gemstone, which is how they ended up with the 12 different gemstones representing each tribe. And then I've just got here, I thought it was so cool that the Holy Spirit teaches skills as well. So it's not just how to preach or what to say, but he actually taught artistic design skills, which of course we know God can teach us anything through his Spirit, but it's just nice that that's highlighted there as well. And then up here he also gave them the ability to teach others. And I've got a little note there, commands were kept, so God's dwelling was restored within their midst. And this links back to Genesis in the garden as well, how God's presence left Adam and Eve in the garden, and now it's been restored with this tabernacle through the fact that the Israelites are willing and they are obeying God's commandments. And then in yellow I found this section quite funny because they're so willing that they give more than enough, and Moses actually has to give an order that no man or woman is to make anything else as an offering for the sanctuary. So the people were restrained from bringing more because what they already had was more than enough to do all the work. So usually this is something that I would just kind of skim past reading. This is why I like to do actual studies, because normally I would just skim read through all this because it just seems so kind of complicated and not really something that I can apply to my life. But when you do Bible studies, you get a lot more in depth into the text and you can find things that you can then use in your own life and apply. And yeah, it's now 20 to 7. So once I've had a few minutes of prayer, I'm going to go and get ready for work. I'm about to hop on and do the last session, which I'm really sad about because I've enjoyed this course so much, but they've got lots of other courses, so I think I'm probably going to jump on and do a different one. But I did get, have I already showed you my Joshua book? Yeah, I have. So I might just jump straight into Joshua first and then come back and do a Bible project video soon. But we're going to be looking at Exodus 38 up to 40, and then we're done. That will be the end of our Exodus study with the Bible project. So I've really enjoyed it. I'm not going to record any more B-roll. I feel like this video is just full of me sitting watching videos and highlighting, and you've probably had enough of that. So I'm just going to quickly complete that now, and then I will hop back on and let you know my final thoughts. So I'll see you in 1 second. Okay, I've just finished my Exodus study. These are the last notes that I took. So I've written down on this little post-it note here that this was a creation of a new nation. It went from, throughout the book of Exodus, we went from disorder to order, from oppression to love of a neighbour, from serving Pharaoh to serving God, in a new society shaped by sacred time, which is the new calendar, sacred space, which is God's presence was with them, and obedience to covenant stipulation. So they finally started to obey. Oh, and I'm just so sad that it's finished, but it's fine because I do want to go back over and use my enduring word just to fill in some gaps where the class didn't cover. I'll just give you a quick little flip through. This is how it's looking. I love all these pages where I've had to add extra notes and things. I love like when the Bible starts to look scrapbooky in a way. You have all these bits and pieces and you can tell it's been studied. It's one of my favourites. I love looking on Instagram and Pinterest and things at different people's Bibles when they've got all these notes in. So yeah, right now I am just sitting going through the last of the questions. So when you complete each module, they give you some questions at the end. Let me just show you. This is what it looks like. So I've just been going through and answering them. So it says, the book of Exodus concludes with what event? And I now know that that is this one. Moses was unable to enter the tabernacle. and then it tells you if you're right, it tells you if you're wrong, and then you just move on. So then it gives you this little summary of everything that you've just learned. So I just have this little section left to do. It's 30 minutes and it's called Reflecting on Exodus. And then at the end of that, where it says congratulations here, I believe that you do get a certificate. So I'm going to quickly go through that now because I want my certificate. This has been really fun because it's set up like a classroom environment, like a little seminar. So there's other students in there. Unfortunately, you can't obviously interact with them, but you can type your answers in and it feels like you're kind of at university. You do your little tests at the end, they give you a certificate at the end of it. So it's great for people like me who always wish they could have done Bible seminary classes or studied Bible studies at university and things, but we never did, and this kind of makes you feel like you're part of that a little bit. So I really enjoy that. But other than that, I'm going to close this video here. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I highly recommend that you do go and try out the Bible Project Classroom. It's all free. You just have to sign up. I just use my Google account, and it's all free, and you get a little certificate at the end. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!